Good afternoon, everyone. Hope things are well. We are heading into that point of the season now where Newcastle are wrapping things up. One win would secure Champions League football for next season. And when you look at the league table, Newcastle will finish second if they win their two remaining games. What a time this is to be a Newcastle fan. Best season in my lifetime, easily. Probably all of your lifetimes as well, to be honest. What an incredible year this has been for Newcastle. Of course, we now have a transfer window coming up where Newcastle can actually bring players in. We can finally sign some players after waiting for over 2 years. It's a fantastic time. I can't wait to get into it. And of course, as transfer links come out on social media, we make videos on it to cover it and to make sure all of you guys watching know what's going on. So first off, if you enjoy the content, make sure to smash the like button, subscribe if you are brand new, and of course, let me know down in the comment section your thoughts and opinions. The big one from The Athletic this morning has claimed that Newcastle United is interested in bringing in Jack Grealish on loan from Manchester City. Jack Grealish and Newcastle is surprisingly two things that have just clicked over the years now. In my personal opinion, Jack Grealish is probably the biggest, I guess, Newcastle legend that's never played for Newcastle. This guy scored the vital goal in the Championship that won Newcastle with the Championship title. And I know first and second is not too much different, to be honest, with the Championship. I wouldn't be bragging about a Championship title. But back then, what a moment that was. Did you know Jack Grealish also went out on a night out in Newcastle after that game? Now, he travelled up from Birmingham. I believe he was close mates with Kieran Clark at the time, so of course, those two went on a night out in Newcastle to celebrate Newcastle's Championship win. So even though he doesn't play for Newcastle, he actually celebrated with the team that night, believe it or not. Jack Grealish is also someone over the years where you might have seen him before in Washington. He's came up to the North East. He tends to have pints out in the North East. I don't know what his family connection or his friends connection is up here, but he's got a little bit of a connection towards the North East at least, and it's a player that hasn't been able to click at Manchester City. That being said, after that nice discussion from me, I would not take Jack Grealish at Newcastle at all. The big factor for me is his wages, £300,000 a week. Of course, in a loan deal, Newcastle would not pay all of that, but it's probably going to be a likely 50-50 split in a loan deal, which means Newcastle giving this guy 150 grand a week, which will be one of the highest paid players at Newcastle. I just don't think he's worth the wages. I'm going to be straight up now. Jack Grealish is a fantastic player. He's not worth the wages. I don't know where he would fit in Newcastle because he wouldn't get in the left because we've got Gordon in the left. Barnes is also good in the left. He probably wouldn't be central because our midfield for his quality. You wouldn't play Grealish on the right because A, Murphy's been class, and B, that's not his natural position. So you're basically interested in a player that doesn't fit anywhere at Newcastle while also having ridiculously high wages. And when you look at his time at Manchester City, he just hasn't wowed me at Man City. And Man City's got so much quality into a team that hasn't been able to get the best of his quality that he produced at Aston Villa. He's someone I'm just not keen on. I'm going to give you this straight up now. I would not take Grealish at Newcastle. Fantastic player, yes, does not fit Newcastle and in the best interest of Newcastle long term. A loan deal just doesn't seem feasible. I don't think this is a deal I would do, and it just doesn't seem like something that Newcastle would do. But definitely keep an eye on it. A player that has been linked to several Premier League clubs. Let's try that again. A player who has been linked with several Premier League clubs, including Newcastle United, is Dusan Vlahovic, of course, over at Juventus. Now, Juventus have already dropped a stinker this season with Newcastle, buying Lloyd Kelly off us for over £20 million. We are loving that. I don't think they are. But can Newcastle get one over Juventus again by signing Vlahovic? I mean, this is a player that is available for around £40 million. And just to put that into perspective, and a striker we have already been linked with is Liam Delap. I've said that I like Liam Delap quite a lot, and I think that he is a good deal for the price that he's available for. But Vlahovic for just a little bit more, I think he's also a fantastic deal, and I'll probably favour this deal out of the two. This is a player I think Newcastle should be going in for. I think we will go in for a player of this calibre. It's a window where Newcastle, in terms of strikers, will basically need someone that is good enough to play for Newcastle on a decent basis, but also needs someone that knows they're coming in as a number two. It's a tricky balance to get in there. I feel like Callum Wilson will leave this summer. In my personal opinion, he has to go this summer. He hasn't really been able to produce anything off the bench, and I wouldn't necessarily mind keeping as a third or fourth choice striker, but we've got to let the guy go at some point. I don't think he's going to get any better at Newcastle, and it's at a stage now where he just hasn't quite got it anymore without trying to sound nasty. And I feel like for Newcastle, we need a striker that's good enough to come in there, but also to contest and hopefully be able to push a bit more out his side. And if you notice over the last few games, I don't think Isak's played well. And one of the big factors for that is a competitive nature. Now, our striker depth is terrible. We've got one class striker and then no one behind him. We've got Callum Wilson's our second choice striker who, I mean, let's be honest, just isn't that good anymore. Suarez still too young, he's just fresh, he needs more time to cook in the oven. So we've got nobody behind Isak. Now, Isak plays bad. He will play next week. He will continue to play every single week. We need a competitive striker behind him that knows I can get into the team here, knows that Isak has to keep on his toes. And Dusan Vlahovic is the sort of striker where obviously he's going to want first team football and you can't quite guarantee at Newcastle, but a Champions League team that is playing 3 times a week, playing massive teams, playing some of the best teams in the world, that can entice a player. Premier League football can entice a player. A team that's won silverware this season can entice a player, and a team that is playing Champions League football and is looking to play regular Champions League football can entice a player. Dusan Vlahovic, in my opinion, for around £40 million is a steal. I think that is a top quality deal. And that's someone that Newcastle is interested in. And it'd be in Newcastle best interest to look for a player of his calibre or a player like him this summer. 100% the club will want him and 100% we are in there for a player like him. And finally, we finished this video off with a win-win scenario for Newcastle fans. I don't want to talk about them, but Sunderland last night won in the 122nd minute or something like that against Coventry to put themselves into a playoff final. No matter what happens, Newcastle fans, I feel like, have won before this game has even kicked off. It'll either be the same old story where Sunderland losing the playoff final. We saw it on Netflix and we saw it on social media. All the Sunderland fans in tears, and of course for us in the moment, we'll soak it in and enjoy it as Newcastle fans will obviously laugh and have those moments. Or they win the playoff final and they're back in the Premier League next season, which should be a team on the plate for Newcastle. It'll be one more thing we have to deal with next season, and for us, I tell you what, if it's Derby's next season at St James's Park and at the Stadium of Light, I can't wait to be there. I'm going to be honest, I'm looking forward to seeing Newcastle smash them, get the job done against them, send them back down, and once again, we'll have the bragging rights like we did last season. So, yeah, a bit of a mention in the video there, but it is a win-win scenario for Newcastle. It will either be them falling apart at the last hurdle, or it'll be them coming up next season, Newcastle making sure we smash the crap out of them at St James's Park. But yeah, we'll finish the video off with that. What do you think about the playoff final last night? In terms of transfers, there's going to be a lot of them. There's going to be a lot of them coming out. I've got a few different videos planned, so stay tuned. I'll have a few of them on the channel that you guys may enjoy. But take care. Wish you all the best. London across over the weekend, of course, for the Arsenal game. So stay tuned and make sure you are looking forward to seeing how Newcastle can do against Arsenal. But take care, and we will see you all in the next one.